Going with another tier list, as in today's video I'm going to be doing my shortstop tier list. Now real quick before we do get started, if you guys do enjoy this type of content, feel free to subscribe. I post plenty of baseball videos on this channel and I'm going to continue to do so going forward. So with that in mind, let's hop right into the video. Alright, so getting started here, the first player we're going to be looking at today, we have Amed Rosario. He's been pretty good for Cleveland this year. He was formerly a top prospect in the Mets system. He was a little bit of a late bloomer, but I mean, at this point, he's a pretty solid shortstop. I don't think he's quite an all-star, but I definitely do think he is top half when looking at shortstops. Next up, we have Nick Ahmed. Maybe 5 years ago, he was good. At this point, he's definitely not a good shortstop by any means. He has been pretty solid defensively, but I think at this point, he's just all around pretty bad. So I hate to do it, but I'm going to have to put Nick Ahmed in the trash category. Willy Adames, Milwaukee Brewers shortstop. He has some of the best power in the game when looking at shortstops. He could honestly hit 30 home runs this year. I think he has almost 20 home runs as of this point, so he's one of the best power bats over at shortstop. He's really close to an all-star, but I don't think he's quite there. I'm going to put him towards the top of the good category because I think he's a really good player. Andrelton Simmons. He's one of the best defensive shortstops we've seen in a while. Offensively, he's never been great. At this point in his career, he's definitely past his prime. He's definitely not a good shortstop anymore, so I think he fits right in that below average category. Brandon Crawford, last year he had a career year. He was really good for San Francisco. I believe he finished top 5, maybe top 10 in the MVP voting in the National League. I'm not too sure, but I know he was really good. He's fallen back down to earth this year. I still do think he is a good shortstop though. I mean, the experience, the defense, I think in clutch moments, he'll show up if need be this year. So I think he's all in all a good shortstop. Bo Bichette. He's one of the best shortstops in the game today. He's really, really close to elite, but I'm going to put him just below in the all-star category. I'm saving the elite for the absolute best of the best, but Bo Bichette's definitely a top shortstop in the game today. Corey Seager, Texas Rangers shortstop. He's been really good with Los Angeles. He has had his injury woes, but this year in Texas, he hasn't been hitting for the best average, but he has a lot of pop, and I definitely do think he's an all-star caliber shortstop. I think he fits right in there with Bo Bichette. Carlos Correa, last year he had an insane year. Defensively, I think you could make the argument he's the best defensive shortstop in baseball on top of providing all-star offensive numbers. With Minnesota this year, he did get off to a bit of a slow start, but lately he's been heating up. I think he's elite. I think he's a little bit above those other two guys in the all-star category. I'm a huge Carlos Correa believer, and I think he's an elite shortstop. Dansby Swanson, he's having a monster year this year, and I think he should be in the all-star game, definitely. All in all, he's a great player, former #1 overall pick. I definitely think he's an all-star caliber shortstop. Paul DeYoung, I'm not too sure why he's on here. He's in AAA. He's been in AAA, so he did have power early on in his career, but at this point, he's definitely trash. Didi Gregorius, I believe he's been injured this year. I haven't heard too much of him. He's been a good shortstop in the past, definitely, but at this point, he's past his prime, and I think he's a below average shortstop. Next up, we have Elvis Andrus, and at this point, I hate to say it, but he's not even close to what he once was. I don't think he's quite trash. I mean, he's okay. He can provide you with some positives, I guess, but he's definitely not good anymore, so I'm going to put him in the below average category. Kyle Farmer, he's been a pretty big surprise this year for the Reds. He's been one of the better offensive bats in that lineup, and I really do like the way he's looked this year, so I definitely think he's a good shortstop. Jose Iglesias. Now, being a Rockies fan, I kind of watch Jose Iglesias quite a bit, and I realize just how important he can be to a team. Like, he doesn't have good offensive numbers by any means, but defensively, he's pretty solid over there at shortstop. And he just seems like he's just always having a positive impact on Colorado whenever I watch the game. So, I mean, He's definitely not the best hitter in the world, but he does know how to get on base, so I think he's a good shortstop. Tim Anderson, he is one of the best shortstops in the game today. I don't think he's quite elite like Carlos Correa, but I think he fits right in with these all-star caliber shortstops. He does really everything you ask for and then some in a shortstop. Let's see here. Alcides Escobar. I'm not too sure if he's still on Baltimore. He was pretty good, important piece with Kansas City in 2015, but in 2022, he's definitely not a good shortstop. I'm going to put him in the trash category. Javier Baez. This is a tough one because his high, when he's like playing well, he's arguably the best shortstop in the game. I believe he's at second base in New York now because of Lindor, but anyways, I don't make these tier lists. When he's good, he's arguably the best shortstop second baseman in the game, but when he's bad, he's trash. Like, he's down here. But all in all, I don't want to disrespect him too much. He can definitely be an all-star caliber shortstop, even an MVP caliber. But as we stand today, I think he's just a good shortstop. Jorge Polanco, one of the most underrated second basemen. I'm not too sure why he's on here, but because obviously he's with Carlos Correa, who mans shortstop. But Polanco, he's an all-star caliber player. He's very underrated, and I think he's a really, really good player. J.P. Crawford, he's having a great year this year. Seattle has been kind of leaning heavily on him offensively. He's really produced a lot this year, more than I would have expected. I definitely think he's a good shortstop. Francisco Lindor, tough one here because he's had a rough couple seasons the past couple years, but this year he's kind of bounced back and looked like the Lindor we've known back in his Cleveland days. So I don't think he's quite elite, but I definitely think he's all-star caliber. Miguel Rojas, he can be pretty decent at times. This is a tough one. I'm kind of torn between good and below average. I know he can, hit for a pretty good average, and he has some highlight reel plays over there at shortstop, so he can be good, but I don't think he's quite up to par with these other good shortstops I have, so I'm just going to toss him in the below average category here. Fernando Tatis Jr., this is a no-brainer. He is elite. In my opinion, he's the best shortstop in the game today. He has 40 home run, 40 stolen base potential. He's so exciting to watch, and baseball's been a lot worse without him this year. I can't wait till he gets back because he's one of the most, if not the most exciting player, in my opinion, to watch. Nicky Lopez, he has ridiculous speed. He can steal 40, 50 bases, and I believe he's pretty solid defensively. I don't think he's quite as good as these good players I have, but I'll put him at the top of the below average category because I don't think he's very below average, but I also don't think he's like a top half shortstop, so I'll put him top of the below average category. Nico Hoerner, he is on the Chicago Cubs, and the Cubs are rebuilding, so Hoerner is getting every opportunity he can get. I don't think he's too good of a shortstop, however, I think he's a below average shortstop at this point. O'Neal Cruz, exciting young rookie, came up, made a huge impact immediately with the Pirates. He's definitely not an all-star caliber shortstop yet, but one day I definitely think he will be, and I think he could be elite. As we stand today, though, he's just middle of the pack, so I'm going to put him in the good category. Jeremy Pena, this is another rookie over in Houston. He's been a Rookie of the Year candidate. He's produced all year. He was injured, but he did come back recently. All in all, I think he's a very good shortstop. He's really close to being an all-star caliber shortstop, but I'm going to put him up here with Willy Adames and Ahmed Rosario towards the top of the good category. This is Ramon Urias, Baltimore Orioles. This is hard. I don't think he's quite trash, but I think he's very below average. So I'll put him towards the bottom of the below average category. He doesn't have much power and doesn't hit for contact too well. I don't think he's a good defender as well, but I don't think he's trash. We have Edmundo Sosa. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right. But Sosa, I don't think he's a good shortstop at all. He's right there with Ramon Urias at the bottom of the below average category. I don't think he's quite trash, but he's definitely very below average. Trevor Story, obviously in Boston now, and he's over at second base, but he's still on this tier list, so we're going to rank him. He's an all-star caliber shortstop. His average has been down this year, but he hits home runs, he steals bases, he provides you with gold glove defense, and he's a very, very good player. Trey Turner, definitely an elite shortstop in my opinion. He's really does everything you want. He can hit 330. He can have like 20 home runs, steal 40, 50 bases. He's just a really good all-around player, and he's one of the most important pieces for LA. Taylor Walls. Taylor Walls is not really a good shortstop. I think he fits right in the below average category. I'll put him ahead of Urias and Sosa because I don't think he's really bad, but I definitely don't think he's an above average shortstop. Wander Franco. This is a hard one. He's really close to being elite, and I'll put him right up here with Bo Bichette at the top of the all-star caliber category, that is. Guy's 21 years old, and he's one of the best shortstops in baseball, so he's going to be elite for a very long time. I don't think he's quite there yet, but he's pretty close to it. Bobby Witt Jr., top prospect in baseball. Prior to this year, he's come up and played very well, in my opinion. He hasn't hit for the best average, but he has lots of power, lots of speed. I think he could easily go 20-20 this year. He's pretty close to it already. So he's definitely a good shortstop. Maybe even next year, he could be an all-star caliber shortstop. And last but certainly not least, we have Xander Bogaerts, one of the better shortstops in the game today. He gets overshadowed by so many people. I don't think he's elite, but I definitely think he fits right in the all-star category. I think he is absolutely an all-star caliber shortstop. So there you have my shortstop tier list. Let me know what you guys think down below, anything you agree on or disagree on. And as always, I want to thank you guys again so much for watching and continuing to support, and I'll see you next time.